welcome back, fellow Jazz Bums. Today, I want to bring you a Twofer series that I've been investigating. I think this is one of the better Twofer series that I've been able to discover, and I think generally it's ignored. I think there's really excellent reasons to pay attention to this. It's a small set. We're going to really focus on 8 records on the Prestige label that are, some of them are extraordinarily difficult to acquire. And I think this is a special way that for those that are interested, that they can get those in their collection. So I'm really excited to talk about this. I did some listening, A-Bing against some of the other pressings that I have, so we'll talk through those. Before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. We have the Jazz Bones Discord. I'm going to link that in the description below. And then we also live stream on Friday, so come and hang out with us there. So as we kind of open this up, we are talking about Twofers. So Twofers are very well known. People may have some of these Twofers I'm going to display, but I want to really do a deep dive. It's really 4 Twofer titles that were created by Prestige in 1964. There is an additional title that we'll get into. It's kind of a unique 5th installment. But I think these are quite exceptional titles and incredible represses from the original metalwork. So I think these are noteworthy, and you may want to have your Discogs up to see if you can snag a copy while you watch this. So Twofers, obviously, I think one of the best ones. I don't know if this would be on par with the Blue Note Twofers. For example, this is a Johnny Griffin with John Coltrane and Hank Mobley. This has 2 titles. Each album in here is an entire album that was previously released. The Prestige titles that we're going to get into, those Twofers, are similar. So you're getting 8 titles from 1957, and some of them are impossible to get. So I'm really excited to share that. But this is definitely the one of the top Twofer reissue series that you can get. It was produced by Michael Kuskuna. The records they sound excellent. I think it's AAA mastering, all of that. So these have been creeping up in price. I think like Lee Morgan's A Procrastinator is pretty expensive these days, but still generally a great value compared to what the originals go for. So that I just want to kind of speak to. That's kind of the gold standard. There's also ones like this is a Savoy with Curtis Fuller. There's 2 Curtis Fuller Savoy titles on this, and although the graphic is honestly absolutely terrible, these are remastered by Van Gelder, so they're not the original masters where they have like the hand etched RBG, but they do have the Van Gelder stamp in them, so he did remaster these. These are really good ways to get really difficult Savoy records, so that's another really good one I've enjoyed. And then just, Verve, Ben Webster, actually Norman Maslov VCLT'd me that. There's another Savoy, and there's other ones here. I just wanted to kind of speak to those because I feel like these ones are well known. This next batch, I think, is not as well known, and I think there's honestly like a superficial reason, perhaps, why these are not collected in the same vein. And I'll show you the 4 titles really quickly, and we'll get into everything. I really want to focus on what the titles are, but I have to say, like, the packaging. This is like gloss. The 1964 super glossy jackets, really beautiful pressings. They're really kind of a great package, but I'll quickly show you them. So there's the Jazz Interplay, and what you'll notice is there's a stamp up here, and I actually think this may turn people off, because what the stamp says is this is the Prestige Jazz Bonus Pack, 2 albums for the price of 1. I think people may see that and think like, oh, this is probably some cheap reissue or something like that, which I know some of the other Twofers also have some language like that in some cases, but I feel like for whatever reason, today's collector, they don't want to see some like budget thing. And although this at the time was a budget thing, I think it's worth exploring today, and I'm really excited to kind of do that in a deep dive video with you guys. But yeah, so all of these are going to have this stamp, okay? And there's one more. There's actually a 5th one that I will show later, but it's kind of a special one. So yeah, so these are the only 4 outside of that 5th one that I was able to find with this stamp. These are all in sequential order, so it starts with Prestige 7341 and ends with 7344. So they came out sequentially, one after the other. And there are Twofer, so there's 8 titles in these, and I want to go through them with you because there are some titles are impossible to get, and this is a way to get an actual repress from the original metalwork with the hand etched RVG. So we'll get into that. So I'm really excited to share this with you. Okay, what else? Oh, the other thing to note is that in 1964, they pressed these in mono and they did another batch in stereo, and they only did one pressing for mono. I think a few of these have like a few different variations for stereo. You want to, in my case, I wanted to get the mono because the monos have the hand etched RVG. The stereos, I haven't listened to them, so I can't speak to if they rechanneled them or what they did. But all of these 8 pressings, I believe, are from 1957. We'll verify that, but I'm pretty sure they're all 1957. So they're all mono. So if you want to get the mono copy for, I think, the best representation of the tape. So that's what you're looking for. So that's something I just want to stress. Get the monos. I don't want to say avoid the stereos. The stereos might sound okay, but I was specifically looking for that RVG stamp in here, and all the monos have that. So that is what I would recommend if you're going to go after these. But again, if you see like a stereo copy in the store, it might sound really good. So worth checking out as well. But I wanted to point that out, that there are stereo presses of these, and you just have to kind of be aware of which one you're getting. Okay, so I think that is it. So just some like basics. So all of these were put out in 1964. They were in a sequence for in a row. And yeah, they're the Prestige Jazz bonus pack. I mean, that's maybe how we could reference them. These are the bonus pack Twofers, and they're really good. So with that said, I wanted to share my screen and kind of dive into what titles are included in these. Oh, and also all of these covers are designed by Don Schlitten. So they have the Don Schlitten name here, and they're all, I don't know what style they are, but they're all pretty cool. We'll get into the jackets a little later because I do want to focus on it because they are really nice. But let's get into the titles first. So let me share my screen. All right, so the first in the sequence is 7341. This is the Jazz Interplay. So the 2 titles on this are interesting because I actually have both titles in other pressings. So I want to talk to how they sound compared to the other pressings that I have. So this is Jazz Interplay. And what is on here on the first album, it is going to be this Mal 2. So Mal Waldron 2, this is using the original part that was used on the only pressing that was ever made besides the recent OJC reissue that you have. This is a way to get it. Now, I did want to mention this on the upfront, that one of the reasons why I think these go under the radar is because although these are represses, since they're packaged in a twofer, they don't get cataloged under the like Mal 2 entry on Discogs because they're slightly different. They have slightly different catalog numbers, but they are the same metalwork, same plates. So basically what's in here is an original Mal 2 repressed in 64 from the original metalwork. The catalog number is scratched out, the first catalog number, and then the new catalog number, this whatever it is, 73 whatever, is rewritten in there. So that's the only difference. So the first title is Mal 2. So if you want to hear how the original RVG sounds, this is a way to do it. Now, I just wanted to point out that this was only pressed once, originally in 1957. The reason why the new OJC is not showing up here is because I filter by country, and the new one, the country is worldwide. It's not US. I think it ought to be since it is kind of pressed in the United States, from what I understand. I think they're all RTI. So I'm not sure why that's worldwide. But the Mal 2 is the first title. So an extremely hard record to get. This is the original metalwork on here. So let me talk about the sonic differences here, because this is interesting. And I will say, as we go through, I was able to have 4 different comparisons, and the differences are varied. They're not all the same. So for Mal 2, I want to say that this pressing, and all of these are clean, visually look VG plus. They look fine, all of them. Look like they were hardly played, honestly. And so for the Mal 2, I said that for this early 64 pressing, it's not a dead silent floor. So that is one thing to note. It's not dead silent. There is like, there is a noise floor that you can hear. I don't think I personally, I don't mind it, but I do want to point that out because, if you're a collector where you want absolutely dead silent, I just want you to know that there is a bit of that, but the instrumentation that comes in over it completely nullifies everything. So I don't really think it's an issue. It's not an issue for me personally. So that, what else did I want to say? And then my note here is that the RVG mastering is spectacular. So I did A/B testing on all the ones I'll discuss, and this one I feel like was just outstanding. And then I did compare it. I have this new OJC. Let me get rid of this. So I have this new OJC, and my note here is that this is dead quiet, that there is sonic improvement on this pressing. Either would be excellent options. If I had this one or that one only, I would have no issue with that at all. I do want to stress that basically everything I listen to sounds very good. We're talking at the margins here of sonic differences. So I think I would recommend any of these pressings that we're going to talk about. So, but I do think that this one really sounds outstanding. And yeah, but I mean, again, marginal differences, but I'd give it to this one, but still, if you want to hear the original RVG, it's there. Okay, let's continue. So the next title that's part of this Twofer, let me show you it again, is this interplay for 2 trumpets and 2 tenors. And this is a total jam session on Prestige. This is really cool. I have the, what I'm showing here is the old OJC. I think this is from 84, maybe. And this sounds really good. The notes on this are that the RVG has the exact same sonic profile as the previous one that I mentioned. It is part of the same set, but honestly, I think, they both sound very good. The old OJC, again, dead quiet. There is also sonic improvement on this pressing, but again, either would be excellent copies to own. So if you have this OJC, and I've been going back to my OJCs, and I don't think that they're all universally excellent, but this one is. This is a really good sounding one. If you do come across this interplay title, it's really worth grabbing. It has John Coltrane, Bobby Jaspar, Idris Sullivan, Webster Young, Mal Waldron, Kenny Burrell, Paul Chambers, Art Taylor. It's total jam session. They stretch out pretty long on this, and it's just a total cool vibe. This is some of like the best stuff I love from Prestige, and I know that some people find it boring, and I get that, but I think that's kind of the charm of it, is that it's uniquely long and jammy, and I think that's kind of because of that I really love these. So you also get an original of this, and if we go back to Discogs, you can see 1957 there is the original mono. The 87 is the reissue. It looks like there's a couple here in 87, but I guess it's also worth noting, let's take a look at how much an original costs. So first of all, there are none available, and you have a pretty wide range. This is a pretty rare record. I mean, it was last sold last December. If it's in, very good plus condition, it's going to run up. If I was a seller and I were seeing these prices, I would probably be, around this high end. I know some people even go further, given that there's no copies for sale. If we look at the Mal Waldron, that one original pressing, let's see if there's any for sale. So none for sale for this. The high end here is $1,000. Last sold this February. So anyway, it's a rare record. I mean, you can look at the have-want ratio is way off here. So only just over 100 people have it. About 1,000 people want it. If this comes up for a VG Plus price, it's going to, be exceptionally expensive. And I guess the point that I'm stressing is these pressings use the same exact metalwork as that. They're even pressed at studios. So it's very similar. I mean, the difference would probably be the vinyl formulation. And that's probably it. So I think given that the originals came out in 57 and these are 64 pressings, those types of things changed over the years. But I think that in terms of value for what these Twofers go for, I think on average, like they all cost me $30. It's, you know, some higher, some lower, but you know, they're not, you know, that's how much, like, you know, what we're paying for modern from Craft or from Acoustic Sounds and Blue Note. So that's the first one I wanted to go over. Now you might say, like, okay, well that's cool, but like the Mal 2 just came out on the new OJC, so I don't need it. And then I could get that interplay that you're saying sounds great on regular OJC for cheap. So like I can get the original artwork as well. So maybe I'll go for that, and that's fair. I wanted to explore, since there's only 4 Twofers, I want to explore them all. And I thought they would be a nice set to have. So that's good. But there are 2 titles in particular that are basically impossible to get outside of the original pressing, and I'm really excited to show you those. So let's keep going. We are going to share my screen again. Let's move on. Okay, so the next one, 7342, is Hard Cooking. Okay, now you can see like the crew on this. It's a mixed group, but the 2 titles that are on Hard Cooking, the first one is Taylor's Whalers. Now, Taylor's Whalers was recently put out by Analog Productions. I think the first pressing may have been 2016. They repressed it. I think it's in stock right now. So I did a comparison against this, the Taylor's Whalers RVG original stamper against what Analog Productions put out. So here's the Analog Productions. Let me show you this. It has a beautiful jacket. You know, you guys probably know this series really well. A lot of you probably have this title. And the notes I have here are the RVG one. So the one in the Twofer is present. The horns are forward, and everything is well balanced. So it sounds good. I would say this one actually, out of all of these, didn't sound the best out of the RVG mixes I was listening to, but it still, it still sounded very good. Again, all of these I would recommend. The EP is really, this is probably the biggest significant improvement that we've that I was able to uncover. This sounds crystal clear, and I think that the separation, the sharpness of the horns and the definition of all the instruments and how they're all balanced is really, I think this is the gold standard again. So this is really good. But if you want to hear the original RVG copy, which sounds good, and if that was my only copy I'd be happy with, you can get it. So I know that, maybe I'm not making the best sale here, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I just want to talk about the series. And I think that there are reasons to get these when we get to titles that I don't have, and that probably nobody has. So let's keep going. And I want, everybody keep an open mind with this Twofer series, because I think it's really cool. So that's Taylor's Whalers. All right, Taylor's Whalers. The next in that Twofer, which is this Twofer, remember, is Taylor's Tenors. Taylor's Tenors was put out once in the US, and that's it. And I think there's like a Japanese reissue, and like that's it. This one is exceptionally hard to get. I'd never seen this come up for auction on eBay. It may have come up on Discogs and I didn't see it, but this is a really hard one to get. I know Felipe has the Japanese. He wanted to get a copy, and that's how he was able to do it. But this is a new jazz. It's very hard to get. If we look at the discography on this, there is one US pressing here. And if anyone at Craft who's doing like the OJCs are trying to, think about what to put out, not only is this rare, but this is a great record. I was just listening to it earlier. Really good. It's hard for me to rank these in comparison, because they're all part of this like 1957 year Prestige, which is just, incredible. But I will say Taylor's Tenors, I think, is even better than Taylor's Whalers. They're kind of two totally different sessions, because this is a smaller group. But this one is a way for people to get the original stamper RVG in this Twofer, and it sounds really good. So I think this Twofer, because this is included, is one to check out. I think it's worth getting. If you want this record, which I did. So this one I think is really exceptional, and it's just the way to get it. And again, this isn't going to, like, the Twofer is not going to be cataloged in the Discogs system, at least how Discogs is set up now. So this one I think is a particular one to take note, because again, for like 30, 35 bucks, get the mono twofer, you have this record. It's, you know, it's pretty incredible. So so that this one is really exciting. So Art Taylor, Charlie Rouse, and Frank Foster on that. Who else is on that? Walter Davis on piano and Sam Jones on bass. So really cool stuff. They're doing Monk songs on here. Straight No Chaser. They got a bunch of cool stuff on here. So this one I think is worth noting, given the current landscape. Okay, let's keep moving. So we're getting to the third twofer. This third twofer is interesting. It's different than the previous two that we've seen, because this is a Wardle Gray memorial album. So Wardle Gray was a tenor sax player, and he passed away in the early 50s in Las Vegas. The details around his death are not completely realized. They found him basically dead in the desert, from what I understand. Who knows what happened? But Prestige put out the memorial records, volume 1 and 2, and they come in 57 from recordings from like 51, 52, 53, I think. So for this title, in terms of the sonics, you just have to realize that this is an early 50s recording. So it's just the microphone recording, the studio equipment is early 50s. So it's not going to sound like Van Gelder. This was not recorded at Van Gelder's Hackensack studio. So it's just going to be different. But I will say this one, I've seen the originals come up. So there's volume 1, which comes out in actually, I'm sorry to jump around, but let's just take a look at the prices for the original Taylor's Wailers. So that mono, there's 3 copies available starting at just below $900. And, you know, look at the sale prices here. I mean, they're asking for way above what the highest is. So anyway, just in terms of value, you know, obviously these twofers are much more affordable. So the Wardle Gray, we have volume 1. This one has been reissued on a few different labels. This one has been an OJC. They did a reissue in 65. This is probably like the same thing as what's in this twofer, except this is just the single volume 1. They reissued it again in 58. So there's a few ways to get this one. The original first pressing, you know, you can get for like 85 bucks. It's not the craziest price record, but I will say on these, I forget who's all on them, but like there's Larry Marable, who we know from Pacific Jazz, Roy Haynes on this, Frank Morgan, who else? Sonny Clark's on a few of these tracks. So these, I was listening to these, and these are awesome. But just know that the sonic quality is going to be for that early 50s period where they were recording. So I just want to point that out. But this twofer, may not be the most interesting of the batch, but honestly, I think I got mine for 15 bucks, super clean, and it's well worth the investment. Wardle Gray's memorial albums are really cool. I think, you know, let me see what's on this one. So on volume 2, let's go to volume 2. So volume 2, they stretch out on so like on side B on volume 2, there's only 2 tracks. And Scrabble from the Apples is a Parker track, and they stretch really far out on it. So I think that's the 1953 session. So that one's cool. And like Clark Terry's on that side B. So these are really cool. I just feel like this one is a little different because it's a memorial, it's earlier stuff, and it's from Wardle Gray, who I don't think, you know, it is in a lot of our collections, but I think it's well worth grabbing it. Like I got my copy for 15, well worth getting that in your collection and having him, because really cool early hard bop stuff that Prestige was doing. Okay, so that's the third one. Now the fourth one, let's keep going. This one I'm really excited to show you too, because there's a title on this that's insanely rare, equally rare as that Taylor one. So this one is the Art Farmer and Donald Byrd Trumpets All Out. So for this, the 2 titles, the first one is 2 trumpets, which I have the OJC. I think this is an 82 OJC because it has it's tipped on the back. So what I said here is that the RVG sounds incredible. This is the one where the RVG beats the reissue that I had. The trumpets are clear and crisp. That is definitely the preferred copy out of these two. And I said the old OJC sounds good, but the RVG is better because it's sharper sonically. But again, this OJC is good if you have it. So, like I mentioned, it is kind of a mixed bag when it comes to each of the titles, but they're all at a very good level. Let's go back here. Now, this is so that is the Art Farmer. So that's the copy I have, the OJC from 82. The next title, this title is impossible to get. This is 3 trumpets. So this is the original RVG hand-etched 1957 metalwork, repressed in this Twofer for 3 trumpets. This one I was really excited about. I've always wanted this one. It has a beautiful cover here. It's 7092. You have Donald Byrd, Art Farmer, and Idris Sullivan on this, with Hood O'Brien on piano, Addison Farmer bass, and Thigpen drums. And they do 5 tracks. So originals of this, we're in the multiple hundreds of dollar realm. And if it's a clean copy, it's going to command much more than that. There's 1 copy available at the timing of this recording, and it's over $500. So this one, and just to look at the different pressings, you have the original mono in 57, excuse me. And then there is a reissue here. I believe this is a Scorpio reissue. So I don't know how this thing sounds. It might sound fine. But there is this as an option. But generally, I have at least 1 Scorpio in my collection. I generally don't collect them. But that might be, it might sound really good. I don't know how that goes. But this 3 trumpets is, if you were to get any of these Twofers, it would be the one that has the 3 trumpets, and then the one that has this Taylor's tenors on it. So the 2 here is Hard Cookin' with Taylor's tenors. And then the next one is this Trumpets All Out with the 3 trumpets album on. So those 2, for $30, whatever it costs to get these, given what they're repressing, I think, given how rare and impossible those records are to get, I think I went and I jumped in kind of head first on those. So those are the 4 titles. I do want to talk about some more things that were put out. But before I do that, I want to kind of show the quality of the jackets. So again, this is 1964, and I'm trying to get the light on there, but it is a glossy jacket, really nice and clean, a nice spine on it. Everything's just really well presented, really clean on the inside with some details. So really good experience. This is the Hard Cookin' one. Again, all of these have this stamp. So if you're in a record shop and you see that, take a look at what it is. And if it's a good price, grab it, because I think the value is pretty incredible here. So that's Hard Cookin'. This is the Wardle Gray one. Again, really nice jacket. Nice liner notes on the inside. And then the back. I feel like all the designs of these are really nice too. I think they do a really good job. And then that last one is the Art Farmer Trumpets All Out. Again, really nice. It's the back. And then this one is a preview copy. This one probably was never even played. It came in so clean. That's the other thing, is you can get these for so cheap. It's really, there's really no reason not to get them, given that they're all the original 1957 pressings. And then look, they almost look like tone poets. Put them next to your Prestige, your OG Prestige, and have that collection. Totally beautiful. I did want to show, let me see if I can grab this really quickly. So they are all on, yeah. Okay. So this is my Trumpets All Out with the, I print these out just so I know some of the details, given that we don't get the original liner notes or cover art. But what I wanted to show you is they're on that blue Trident Prestige. And I don't think I'll be able to zoom in, but hand-etched RVG. They have the original catalog number scratched out, the new one handwritten in, and then AB, Abbey Studios. That's the press that Prestige mostly used. There are a couple Plastlite Prestige pressings, and there's probably other stuff too, but I think mostly they were Abbey Studios. So So that's what the label looks like. And again, you want to get the monos. Prefer the monos, but stereos might sound okay. So speaking of stereo, so these were put out in a series. The first one, 7341. 7340 is actually a Booker Irvin that I have. Do I have it anywhere? Yeah. So the title that came out just before this Twofer series was this Booker Irvin. Okay. The reason why I'm showing you this is one title before this, there's another Twofer, but it's different. This one is a session from, I think, 63 or 64, put out in 64. And it does have the stamp, the Twofer stamp. Now, this one, because it was recorded in 63, 64, the stereo copy does have Van Gelder stamped in it. So you can get a stereo. So if you get all 5 of these, you kind of have a nice range of all different types of things, with early stuff with the Wardle Gray, like early 50s, and something from 63, 64 in stereo, and then all those 57 sessions that are just incredible. So there's a nice range in these 5 here too. So this is it has the same packaging, but it's a little different just because this isn't a throwback. This is the first pressing of this. And this came out in stereo and mono. I'm sure they both sound fine. I just got the stereo just because it was Van Gelder stamped. And this has George Tucker bass, Jimmy Smith drums, Sonny Brown drums, Larry Young on organ, Leo Wright alto sax, and Kenny Burrell on guitar. And this is a really cool session. This one actually goes for a little bit more. It's not crazy, but I think you could easily spend like $50 or more on this one. But this one's really cool. This is worth just checking out independently of the series. But this is this is the Gildo Mahones. So Gildo Mahones, and I did a little bit of a dive on him after getting this, and he has some cool sessions that he's on. He's on a bunch of stuff. So, all right, the other thing I wanted to show. So as I was kind of going through all the Prestige catalog, looking for anything that seemed like it could be part of this bonus pack series, I did find some interesting things that I wanted to just point out before we get out of here. Let me just pull up this. So same year, I believe, we can double check that. We have the Prestige Folk Bonus Pack, 2 albums for the price of 1. So the same exact stamp, except this is folk instead of jazz. And this is a Lightnin' Hopkins. So I didn't get this one, but for people that are interested in blues and folk and Lightnin' Hopkins, this might be one to check out. I don't know if it's as, let me see if they say what titles they are on. So it says it's a double interview and live music from Lightnin' Hopkins. So this is kind of different in nature. But anyway, this one could be really cool too. So this is the blues one. And then there's another blues one, which the picture here isn't that great, but essentially it's folk songs with the Seegers. And if you can see, this also has that stamp on it here. So yeah. So anyway, so there's a couple that also, expand on that. And those are from 65, not 64. So a year later. So yeah, so that's it. That's all I wanted to show. I wanted to kind of bring these Twofers to light, start the discussion. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if I got anything wrong with any of this, let me know. If there are any other of these bonus pack Twofers that you're aware of, please let me know. I think this is the exhaustive list of them, these 5 on the jazz side. So these are ones to check out. And that's pretty much it. So leave a comment in the description. Let me know what you thought. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.